this morning I have decided we have some practicals. I'll be sharing my screen because you're supposed to have the PHP. You're supposed to have the PHP topic. But before you go to the PHP now, remember you'll be using the PHP now to submit data into the database. And now for you to have that, you must be using the HTML forms because we'll be having the forms now in the PHP in MySQL somewhere. So I've decided to remind you first about the PHP because I realized most of you are not able to understand well the web one. So for this class, I have to remind you concerning the PHP. Go to the PHP, the HTML forms. Then from there, you can go to the PHP. Remember, you use this programming language to come up with your project for the DIT student. So we'll be having some practicals today. I'll be sharing my screen. And now, for you to have for you to work on this one, you must be having a text editor. And you can use the several text editors. You can use the Notepad Plus. You can use a Dreamweaver. You can use Notepad Plus. You can use a Dreamweaver. You can use Sublime Text. These are some of the text editors. In my case now, I'll be using the Notepad Plus. I'm able to share my screen. So I'll have the HTML forms and remind you how to use a checkbox, how to use a button, how to use a set button with a simple page. Because when you have knowledge, you need it. So I might do fast. So I might do that. So let me just share my screen. I'll be using the Notepad Plus. Just share my screen. Yeah, that will be the text editor. I'll be using that text editor. Now, for you to come up with a simple page now, you must save your document as what .html. So I have to save my document. I have to save my document. So you have to save it. You have to save it. Let me just give it a file name. Is maybe test3.html. I have to save it in that perspective. Then here we select all types. Save it on the desktop. Save it on the desktop. Yeah, I'll save it on that folder. I'll just save it on that folder. So we have so the file name. It is the test3.html. Every time you have to start from HTML, you have HTML. You have to close it. Have to close it. Have to close it. Don't come up with a simple page. A simple page first. Come up with a simple page. HTML here, you're supposed to open the head. You just open the head. You just close the head. Just close the head here. Just close it. The in between the head now, you're supposed to have the title. You can have the title here. You just open the title. Maybe welcome. Have first page. Web page. And you just close the title. Just close the title. Because we have it. Then from the head now, is maybe you can have the body here. Have the body. You can close the body at this point. Then you can have heading 1 here. Our heading 1. Our heading 1. Welcome. My website, my web page. Welcome to my web page. And you just close what? Just close the heading 1. Just close your heading 1. No, from the body now, for example, in case I want the body to have, for example, in my page here, I want now this background here to currently is clear. I want to add some colors. Remember, you can add color to your web page by using the cascading style sheet. And after the CSS now, it has to be in between what the head. That you get that, so you have to open a style in between what the head. But now I'll be using the body BG color. For example, in case I want my page to have color green, I'll have body BG color. Body BG color is equal to have body BG color is equal to. So you have to open the double quote and you just input, for example, you just input green and you just save it. So you can preview a page. Just preview a page. You see whether you can see the title, you can see the heading one, you can see what that the background is supposed to be what color green. So you have to run the program. You have to run the program. So for you to run the program, you just open the browser. Open the browser. Yeah, it is here. You can see it now. Yeah, you can have it. You can have it. It is here. Let us see the output. I'm loading the output. You see the output on the screen. Yeah, it is loading. It's loading. I want to share the output.
Right now.
It is loading. Just give it 1 minute. It's loading the screen. I want to show you the output of that program at that point. Yeah. Can you see the output now? We're having the output now. Can you see we're having the first, we're having the pages here. You can see now heading one, welcome to what? To my web page. And you can see now the background is what color green. That is the output. Any question at that point before you start on the forms now? That is how you add the title. You can even add heading one, and you can even add the background color. Still, I'll show you on how to add a background. Any question? So any question up to that point? Any question? In case you have any question, you can ask before I proceed. Any question? Now later, any question? Yeah, we can proceed. Yes, we can proceed now. Now let me in the next part now, I'll show you on how you can come up with a web page, a simple web page now by using the HTML forms. Because for example, we can have a registration page whereby the client or the customers or the user will be requested to input a example, you can have the first name, the last name, a text area. Then that information has to be submitted to the database. You must have what? That simple registration form. So let us have it. Let me share my text editor. I'll be sharing my text editor. You can open a table. You can open a table here. Also, you can have the form. Then you have to open the table. You have to open the table. You have to close it here. Then you can specify some parameters in the table. For example, you can have maybe table border. You can have table border is equals to border is equals to. We can have 2 and have table color is equals to. You can specify for our table is supposed to be blue. You can specify it's supposed to be blue. These are some specifications. Then from there we can start now. Remember, every time, for example, for the first name is supposed to be in between a single row. So every time you have to open what? A single row. For example, the first name we have a single row. You can just open our first row here. You can just open our first row. That is row 1. Just close that table row. And in between the table row here, you can have the table head. The table head can have that description form. Description form. And just close our table head. Just close it. Have that. Then now you can open the table. Just close it. Then in between now you have the table data. You have the table data. Maybe first name. And you just close the table data. Then you have another table data here. Input type now. Input type is equals to text. Remember, the first name is supposed to depict a text. So if that is equals to text, in case you are having a number, for example, in case you are having a mobile number, you could have used what input type is equals to number. So name is equals to, we can use f name. We can use f name. You can have maybe value. You can have placeholder. Placeholder is equals to input first name. Input first name. You can have that. Then you just close your table data. You have the first one. But now, in this one now, you can put some restrictions. For example, you can add, you have this restriction here. You can add the term required here. You can just add the term required to prevent someone from submitting the information without some fields on their blank. So you have that restriction, you have required. So you have to put the first name before you submit what that for that form. That is the first name. That is our first row. Then you have the last name. Have the last name. Then you'll have, and every time you have to save your work, You can have that. Then still you can have, for example, the username. You can have the username. Have the username is here. And here you can have the username. Then you can have the password. You can have what the password. Remember currently we are using what we call the text input controls. They're using what? The text input controls. Then now, input type is equal to password. The reason we're using the term password here is to prevent now someone else from preview the information as you key in is equals to password. So you have to know that what that's the difference. For the others, we're using input type is equals to text, but for this one, this program here, we're using input type is equals to password. So here we have password. Input password. Now for this one, for this mobile now, let me just use the text now, so that now I can limit that the contact, for example, in case I use a number here, I want to be able to limit up to 10 digits because a phone number is supposed to have what you have to validate your form, your must ensure that the phone number is 10 digits. So let me just use text for now, so I can validate using the maximum. So we have the max length you can have now. I want to validate now that max length is equal to 10. So there is no way you can put more than 10 digits for the phone number. That's the form of validation. Because every time, once you come up with the website, you have to validate the forms. Then you can have the email. You can have the email. Now, input is equals to email, not a text, is equals to email. Just remove the term required here. Then you have email. Then you're supposed to have input mobile number. Then we were using the text. Now let me just use a checkbox or a ready button. Let me just use a ready button. Select the gender now, either the female or the male. Let me just use a ready button now. Type is equals to radio. Radio is equals to, you can have male. We have at that point. So maybe now we can preview the output of our program. Still, we have the text area here with the checkbox. Let us preview our program. We see the output. So we have to get back to the browser now. So I'm showing the output of our program. Now, are you able to see the output of our program now? This is the output of our program. It is here. We can see now. We can input the first name. You can input the first name is here. You can just input some values here. For example, you can just input maybe the first name is supposed to be Peter. You can have our last name is supposed to be maybe right now. The username we can have maybe Peter. The password you can have maybe 123. So you have realized now for the password now there is no way you can determine the value being inputted because you have used now the what if is equals to password. Then the phone number here it cannot have 10 digits. It cannot have what 10 digits. So you have validated our form. For example, in case someone is able to type the email as T, you realize there is not a what there is not a valid email. So you have to use what the @ sign. You have to use the @ sign. Use the @ sign. And have that. Then you have the radio button is here. There is no way you can be a male and the same symptom you are female. So you have the radio back button. So in case you check the male, the female is not unchecked. Now we can add a checkbox, an option box here. After upload box now to upload an image and the submit button. So let us get back to the code. So any question at that point? Any question at that point? Any question? So you understand the point? Can you get the program very well? Can you get the program very well? Yeah, that is good. So we can proceed. We can have a list box here whereby if the user can select his county, so we can use input type is equals to you can have so we have to change everything here. Have this select name. Have that. You can have option. Lobby is here. And have several options. You have to be very, very careful. Every time you open a tag, you have to close it. You have to close it. Otherwise, in case you don't close it, you have an error. You have a syntax error. Then you have to close our select. You have to close it. Then you can have a checkbox here. You can have a checkbox. Have table data. I'll be able to follow that program very well. If you have any question, you can ask as a program. Have a checkbox. Then we can have still we can have another form control. For example, in case you want to upload a file, for example, in terms of a PDF, or you want to upload an image, you can have now the file dialog box. We just add one. for this one, if dep is equals to file, you have to change it now, not text now, or even the password is equals to file. You can have name equals to file. That is equals to the upload image. Have upload, have that. Then just close our table data. You can have a text area. You can have a text area. You can have the text area. You can just have it. Then you can have the button now. You can have the buttons. That is the button. Then you can have you can have a reset button now. For example, we'll use this one to submit the values, but now you can have another. You can have the reset button, for example, in case you want to get the information from the screen. You can have what the reset button. Okay, let us preview the output of our program. Let us preview the output of our program. So let me just share the output now of our program. We see the output. You have to ensure you close the table rows very, very well. So I'm sharing the output now. Yeah, that is the output of this program now. You can see we are having, for example, yeah, you can have the read boxes here, the read button is here. You can have the check box whereby the check box now it allows you to select more than one what or option. Then in case, for example, in case you want to upload an image, we have that file. You can have this one. You can decide to open an image. Still, you can open you can upload a PDF file like this one. Yeah, it is here. Then you have the description is here. And have the description is here. Then you can have the register. For the register now, it's supposed to be the bottom. You can have the register at the bottom. But before you electrify that now, let us try something. Let us put some values here. In case now you try to submit your information, or in case you try to register, there's no you can submit because you have what? Some validation. So let us electrify this problem. Let us have our button at the bottom, not at the top. We have to get back the code and debug. I'm sharing my text data. You can ask some questions. Ask some questions. So, have you understood? Karen, Jerry, have you understood at that point? That is good. Question. From the feedback, now you put us that is good. That is good. So let us get back to the code now. What about Matthew? Emily, have you understood Matthew, that code? Matthew? What about Derek and Walter? They've been so silent. I want to hear the response from Derek and Walter. Yeah, what about Kakungu Dungu? Any question? Button type is equal to submit. And still you can have a reset button here. Have a reset button is have it can have reset. Reset. Have reset. Also, you can have clear. Have that. Then you can preview the outcome. So I'm sharing the screen once more. The outcome. Yeah, I'm running the outcome of that program. I'm running the outcome of that program. output. Yeah, I hope you can see the output now. Any question now? That is the final output. That is the final output. So for example, now I want to input some information here. We see that the form is validated. So you can put now the first name. You can have Peter. The last name you can have by noun. The username you can have maybe Peter. Have Peter. The password you can have 1 2 3 1 2 3. Then the moment now I can have 10 digits. I can have the 10 digits. Then the email you can have that first. You can have that. You can select the country. You can put that file. Then the description can just save that. Then we try to submit or we get register now. You can see now the form is being validated. The form is being validated. So the email is wrong. So you can have T as the email. You must have what the at sign. So T as what? T at that. Then we you can register. But now you realize that information has to be submitted now to the PHP form now. Now the PHP comes in here. Now just confirm this point here. You can have this part here. Let me just show you the code. Because now once this information from this form, that information has to be submitted, or it has to be picked by a different page having what? The PHP code. Let me just show you. Now we have this part here for the form. We have this. Once you submit now, we have this part here. So you have form, can have form action, can have form action is equals to, can have is equals to insert, can have insert dot PHP now, PHP comes in here, then method is equal to post, method is equal to post. So what will happen now? Once you click submit, that information will be sent to insert.php. It will be sent to this page now, insert.php. And this one we are using post here because now we are posting this information into the database. So now you must have a database now. You must have what? A database. You must have a database. So any question on that page, on that PHP, on that HTML form? Because now we start from here, PHP now. This is where we start from PHP now. This is where we start PHP now. We start from this point. Any question at that point? Any question at that point? Yeah, lose any question at that point. Lose any question? Now, for the PHP now, we'll start with the basic. For example, PHP now, you have to have a programs. For example, you have to install either the WAMP server or the XAMPP server computer. You have to install these applications, either the WAMP server can have the WAMP server or the XAMPP server. You have to install one of these now, the WAMP server or the XAMPP server. Now, in these two now, they work. You can just have one. Remember, these two programs here, they are using the same port 80. So there's either use WAMP server or the XAMPP server, but I prefer use the XAMPP server. Let me just show you a XAMPP server here. I will be using. Let me just open one. Let me just open the XAMPP server. Let me just show you. So you have to install this program. You have to install it in your machines before you start the PHP. Let me just start mine and show how it works. So I have mine here. So I'm using the XAMPP server. Is here. Once the program is here, you just double click it. Then you have the Apache and the MySQL now. You have to click what MySQL what is start. So now I'm opening now the XAMPP server. To open the XAMPP server is a bit different, but I prefer using the XAMPP server. And I would prefer use version 5.6. It's very good, version 5.6. Now I've started my XAMPP server. For example, in case I want to access the database, just come to the browser here. In case you want to access the database, just go to the browser here and just type 127. We have that. I want to access now. It's here. Then you have PHP admin. You can have the PHP admin. You can have the PHP admin. We are accessing the database because now the information has been submitted in the database. I hope you can see it. It's here. I hope you're able to see the database is here. This database is because, for example, those people who are having a project or is supposed to come up with a system, you have to launch or you have to create a database name. Then you have to import the table. Yeah, in this platform. Hope you can see it. For example, we can create a database here. Let us create one databases. We can create one. Let us have maybe that has 35. Can have 35. We can have that. For example, this form you have created, you're supposed to have tables. You're supposed to have what? The tables. So those tables now, they're supposed to be reflected here. So there's our database here. Test what? We have test for test 5. So I want to create the tables now. So we have this one here. So you have database what? Database test 5, maybe table test. You can have that what? Table test. Now the number of columns in our table. For example, we can have just click go. Maybe you can have maybe for example then you can specify that, but I'll also repeat this next time. We don't have to. You can create the first name, the F name, then it's supposed to be what a text of a character. Then you have to specify the number of what or the rate of the values. Then you can have the L name, you can have the L name, supposed to be a text of a character. You have to specify the thing. Maybe then you can have maybe the country. You have to specify is a text. Then you can still have maybe the gender. Then we can have the text, have that. Then once you are through, you can just save it. You can just save it. Just come to this point here and you click save. Now you want to save that table. Yeah, you can see now the table has been created. Now you have this table. The table is having the ID, the first name, the last name, the content, with the gender. Yeah, so you have to use that XAMPP. And I've said the XAMPP what the same way as what as WAMP. It is either use XAMPP or WAMP, but in my case now I would prefer what the XAMPP. So any question at that point? Any question? Because I want to show you on how you come up with a simple program, PHP program now. Maybe in PHP. I want to ask any question before I proceed. Any question at that point? Any question? Clarin, Kakongo, Lud, Madi, any question? Bati, Francisca, Bogu, and Otieno, any question at that point? Any question? If I proceed. Yeah, you can just type, it is okay, no question from the Bogua. Anyone else? I want to introduce the PHP. Because I can see no questions now. Maybe now you can go to the PHP. That was a recap of the HTML because you are going to use now the HTML in PHP now. Now, when we talk about the PHP now, actually the PHP means what? The hypertext preprocessor or the preprocessor hypertext. That is what the meaning of PHP. And this is a programming language. Actually, it is a server-side. The PHP is a what? It's a server-side scripting language that allows the web developers to create dynamic content. Yeah, so it is a what? A server-side scripting language, a server-side programming language that allows the web developers to create dynamic content that interact with the world with the database. Because now, once the information has been picked using the form, we must have in between must have the PHP. Maybe you can share a small program of PHP. Let me just show you a PHP code. Let me just show you PHP code to insert information into the database because you have said that information has to be inserted into the database by using the PHP. And you have said this PHP is used for creating dynamic websites or static websites. Let me just share a PHP code to insert information into the database. So let me just share. Let me just show you a code. I'm sharing one. Let me just share a PHP code. I hope you can see that now. This is a simple code for the PHP now. Now, this code now, it is used to create a session to the database. Now, it is able to create a connection to the database. And from there now, once it is able to create a connection, you can insert data into the database. For example, you can have the first part here. Can you see this one? We are having what? $con. That means what? Connection. Then we have the username of database is what? ESP tank. Then you can have this part here. MySQL underscore query inserting what? Persons. Persons means what? The table. But we'll come to that. So this is a simple PHP code. But we'll come back to that. Because we have said Yeah, so that is a simple PHP code. A simple PHP code. But we'll start with the basics now. We'll start by creating or declaring the variables in PHP. Now, what are the uses of PHP? What are the uses of PHP? One of the uses of PHP is that it is used to add, delete, and modify elements within the database. It is used to add, delete, and modify elements within the database. I have shown you on how you can create a table within the database. For example, in case you want to edit some information in the database now, or for example, in case you have made a mistake when you're creating a certain element in the database, you can just open the PHP admin and we modify. That is the first use. To add, delete, or modify any elements within the database. The second use of PHP, it is able to perform the system functions. It is able to perform the system functions. Which are these functions? You can create, you can open, you can read, you can write, or you can close after a file. You can create a file, you can open, read, write, or close after a file. Still, another use of PHP is that it is used to handle forms. Used to do what? To handle forms. We have said that information submitted in the form is picked by the PHP and submitted into the database. So it has to be in between. And PHP is embedded in HTML. It has to be embedded in what? In HTML. Still, you can use PHP to encrypt the data. You can use PHP to encrypt the data. For example, the password. In case you just submit a plain text password in the database, someone will be able to see the password and log in. So what do you do now to prevent that third party or that legitimate personnel from reading the password? You can just encrypt using what you call the MD5 or the secure shell algorithm. I'll be showing you in the next class that practical on the MD5 or the SHA-1. Still, another use of PHP, it is compatible with almost all servers. Is compatible with almost all servers. For example, in case you're using the Apache, for example, the XAMPP server here is using what Apache. It is compatible. In case you're using the IIS, the Internet Information System, still is what is compatible. Still, another use of PHP, it is able to run on different platforms. You can run on Windows, you can run on Linux, you can run on Unix. So these are some of the uses of PHP. And now, what are the characteristics of PHP? Can just state that, for example, it is very, very flexible, there's familiarity, there's security, it's efficient, it's very, very simple. So these are some of the characteristics of PHP. Now, how do you write the first PHP program? How do you write the first PHP program? I want to demonstrate now on how you write the first PHP program. So there's a question here from Bogua. How do you encrypt the data? You can use what you call the MD5. You can use MD5 or the SHA-1. This is a mathematical algorithm. I'll be illustrating the next class now. You can use the MD5 or you can use what? SHA-1. I'll be demonstrating once we get to that point. Yeah, I'll be using the MD5 or the SHA-1 to encrypt the information. Now, I want to show you on how you can create the first PHP program. Before I come to that point, I have to show you on where you save this information. Normally in HTML, you just create a folder. You just create a folder on the desktop and you save your work there. But now for the PHP now, you have to save it within the WAMP server or the XAMPP server. For example, for the XAMPP server, you just save it at what? HTTP docs. So let us have creating the first PHP program. So we have creating first PHP program. Creating with the first PHP program. So you have to create a folder. Let me just share my entire screen. So you have to create a folder first. Here we have, let me just share the task screen. Now you have to open local disk C. Now I want to create a folder. I want to run a program in PHP. So I have to open local disk C. I have to open my computer. You just go to the XAMPP. Now I'm using XAMPP. You just go to XAMPP, just click it. Then we have htdocs. You just click that. Then you create a folder here. Just create a folder. Let me just type it maybe web. Let me just type it web 2. That is the folder. That folder now it will contain all my programs I'm writing. We have the name is web 2. Then I get back to my notepad. I just file new. Or to save it, so you have to save it on local disk C. Just go to local disk C. Just click XAMPP. Then our folder is supposed to be what? We're supposed to have web 2. Then you can have maybe index. Now the extension now for the PHP is supposed to be what? Index.php. Index.what.php. You have index.php. Then you say result or types. You have all types. You have it here. Now we can create the first program in what? In PHP. So have that. That is how you open a program in PHP. Then you close it. That is how you open. So this is the opening tag in PHP and the closing tag. So in case now you want to print some information or you want to print some output in PHP, let me just show you. I want to show you how you write the first program. So we have use echo must be product. Have that. So the output of that program will be what? Welcome. Now how do you run that program? You just open your browser. Just open your browser. You just open your browser. Then you just type what? Localhost. Then remember there's a URL. A uniform resource locator. You just type localhost. Just type localhost. Localhost. Then we have a folder. We have web2. Then you have the name of the file, index.php. Index.what.php. Index.php. Let me just run it. Embedded in PHP, be embedded in what? In HTML. Let me just run it. Welcome to PHP. Welcome to PHP. So I have embedded the PHP in HTML. Remember, it's supposed to be between the body. Here we have it is here. If you can see it, is here. There is a program. Now we have to get back to our browser here, and we just refresh it. It is here. Welcome to PHP. I hope you can see this one. This is output. Welcome to PHP. That is the output. Welcome to PHP, and this is the code. This is the code now. That is how you write the first word PHP program. Then you have said PHP means what? Preprocessor hypertext. And yes, you have said that it has to be embedded in what? In HTML? HTML. It has to be embedded in HTML. Any question? Any question? And that is enough for today, because today we were just having the introduction. Practicals now as I prepare you. So you make sure the one server, you have to make sure you have installed that the XAMPP server or the WAMP server. So any question? Any question? Walter, any question?
Hello.
Yes, Walter, ask any question.
Yes. Yes, he Notepad plus plus. Is it different with the normal Notepad?
Yeah, actually it is the same, but now when you're using the normal Notepad plus, the appearance is not very well together, because now when you're using the Notepad plus plus, it is able to distinguish the HTML codes and the other codes together. So we prefer you install the Notepad plus plus. They perform the same functions, but Sublime Text or Notepad plus plus is a bit better. Use the Notepad plus plus. Yeah. Then you have to make sure you install the XAMPP server or the WAMP server before the next class. You have to ensure you have to install the XAMPP server or the WAMP server. Any other question?
Sir.
Yes.
I was actually requesting if you could just upload the file on the platform for the
Which
app.
file? For the app?
No,
there is for this one. There's no I can maybe what I can do now. I can create a link together. I'll just share a link together. That link now you're able to download right together the file. I'll just create a link. Then you just click that link. Then you're able to download what? That file together. Yeah, that's some server, the WAMP server. I'll just post it now. The link. Download that. Yeah. Any other question? Welcome. So how was the class today? How was it? Was it interactive? How was it?
It's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Still, you can use even the Sublime Text. It's okay. You can use any, either Notepad plus plus or Sublime Text.
Hello.
Yes, you.
Hello.
Yes, who is talking? Who is talking? Yes, ask any question. Ask any question.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Walter.
Yeah, is there any application app apart from HPHP?
Yeah, you see now you'll be using actually the PHP now is not application. PHP is a programming language. Together, a programming language. Together, in this language, it is used to create dynamic websites. Together, interactive web websites. And you have said this language is embedded in HTML. Together, yeah, it is able to link now the HTML files and the database. Yeah, PHP is a web programming language.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Instead of using a notepad, can't you use Sublime Text?
It is okay. You can use any. You can use any. Both are text editors. You can use any. Yeah, you can use any. Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Derek, you have been so silent. Any question from Derek and Kakumu? Yeah, no question from Derek. So now you have to do this. There's a question I have posted on this platform now. I want to work on it. There's a question I've posted. And remember, next week you'll be having your cut one. Cat 1 is ready. You just log into the ZDS and have it your Cat 1 next week. So you to prepare very, very well. So now there's a question, there's an assignment I've posted. I want to work on it Work on that question, on that assignment. Then still, I will share the link on how you can download the text editor, and still a link on how you can download the XAMPP server. So you have to make sure before the next class you have installed either the XAMPP server. I prefer using XAMPP, it's a bit better. XAMPP server. And still, I will share the version. The best version is supposed to be version 5.6. To install either the Sublime Text, the XAMPP server, and what? The Notepad+. Yeah, the deadline for the assignment is indicated. Is today. The deadline for the assignment is today. Yeah, it will expire today. Any other question? So what do I want you work on that now? So how was the class today, Walter? How was it? How was the class today, Walter?
That was good. It was interesting.
So it was interesting. So you were able to I was able to remind you concerning the HTML. So I hope you are ready now for the PHP.
The class was good.
Yeah, that is.
We are ready for PHP.
Yeah, because we're using this PHP now to come to develop your systems. Right together. You remember you're supposed to have a project. You're going to use this language. Yeah. What about Francisca? How was the class, Francisca? Francisca, how was the class today?
It was good.
It was good. That is good. What about we can have? What about Kakomo? How was the class today, Kakomo? How was the class today? Yeah, that is good. Yeah, I'm waiting for the poll from Luz and Francisca concerning the class. I can see now Crowley has voted. Kakongo, Bogo, that is good. I'm waiting for the 4 responses for the poll about the class today. I'm waiting for Romona and Francisca to vote before I publish. I'm waiting for Francisca and Romona to vote. Now, I want to work on now on that assignment. That is good response. Everyone has submitted 5. So you can just work on that list. You can just work on that now, on that assignment.
Well,